Hello, my name is Michael Jamie Morley, and I am here to do a movie review on Furious 7, or should I call it Fast and Furious 7, even though it's called Furious 7. Well, what can I say about this film? It is fun, dumb, action, pure adrenaline rush, explosions, cars falling out of planes and parachutes coming off the car. It's so unrealistic and so unbelievable. If you're one of those people who just walks in the movie and complains about every aspect of the film that's unrealistic, don't watch it. Just walk out of the frickin' cinema. What's the point if you're gonna go in there and complain about it? You know, just don't go in there. If you're gonna complain about those things, about it being unrealistic and the fact that they're superheroes surviving through all these situations and they got no bruises or scratches on them, just don't watch the frickin' movie. It's that pretty simple. Anyway, what I can say about the film, I have to be honest and say that this is a pretty good film. This is a pretty good film. I am not going to judge it for the reasons that I will mention. Paul Walker. We all know he died. He died in a car crash. Poor bloke. And you can tell that the story is a bit convoluted. Like, there are things that are happening in the film where you kind of see two different stories. It's like watching two different films. And they're trying to mix it together, but it's not connecting, if you get what I'm saying. And it's obviously because of the death of Paul Walker, and they had to explain how that was going to be added into the film. And what annoys me is the fact that if that, sad thing didn't happen, what would the film really been like? With that story being in there, if it wasn't in there, would the film be, I don't know, I was really interested in how it would have played out if Paul Walker hadn't had that situation in his life, which is really sad. But there are a few problems with this film, and those problems are what I just mentioned about it's very convoluted, and the script is very jumbled. And I feel like the villain, Jason Statham, he is amazing. He is by far the best villain in all the franchise, like the whole Fast and Furious franchise. He is the best villain by far. And obviously, it's pretty simple that he is, because he's probably the most well-known actor to be a villain in the franchise. And each villain just gets better and better, and he's the best. So, I don't know, if they make a Fast 8, who are they going to get to be a villain? I don't know. Who are they going to get? Who? But here's the thing. They really underuse him a lot. I mean, he kind of just pops in, pops out. There he is. Oh, hello, how are you, Jason Statham? There you are. And then he does something, and he disappears for a bit of time, and he's gone, and then he comes back. And he's great in the film. I just feel like that they completely they didn't really use him as much as they could have. They used him a fair bit, but they didn't use him as much as they should have, in my opinion. And the biggest problem, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Where the F are you, man? You are barely in this film. You are only in it for like probably 15 minutes, and you're just gone. You're gone. You're absolutely gone. Why are you gone? And I know that he had scheduling conflicts because he was shooting Hercules, but it's such the bar went down in the film because he wasn't even he wasn't in it that much, and that's why I don't know, him being in this franchise really helps the franchise, in my opinion. I think his character is what brings that bar up, and I think if it wasn't for this franchise, if it wasn't for him, I don't think this franchise with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wouldn't have been what it is now if it weren't for him. And he's barely in this, and I'm really disappointed about the fact that he's only in it for like 15 minutes. And I really wish that they actually got him to be in it a lot more. Because I could tell that, he's in hospital. There's a situation where he's fighting Jason Statham. And if you watch the trailer, it's not really a spoiler, because he's in hospital. He gets in hospital because of Jason Statham, and we don't see him for a long, long time. And when you do see him again, it's awesome. But when he's not on screen, it's cool. It's a good film. It's fantastic, but it's just not what Fast 5 and Fast 6 were. Fast 5 and Fast 6 just did everything right, and I think the other problem was the fact that the director, it's not the same director that directed Fast 5 and Fast 6, unfortunately, and this Justin Lin, who directed Tokyo Drift, the 4 Fast and Furious, 5th and 6th, didn't come back for this because they were on such a tight schedule that they wanted this film to come a year after Furious 6 until, Paul Walker sadly passed away. They had to delay it and reshoot some scenes and rewrite stuff to get the Paul Walker send-off good, so they can get that happening. And James Wan, he had to go for a really hard job trying to explain what they're going to do with Paul Walker and everything, and he did a good job with that. I think the chase scenes were really good. The car scenes were amazing. I think he did a good job with that. And you can't even tell there's James Wan directing the film because he's a horror director. He's directed Saw, The Conjuring, Insidious. He did a good job. He just didn't do it as well as Justin Lin, but he did a pretty solid job. Just not as phenomenal, not as great as Justin Lin, but still solid. He did a good job. And, he's proven that he can be more than just a horror director. But the problem is the fact that he uses close-up fighting scenes. Like, when he directs the fighting scenes, they're really close up, and you can't really tell what's going on. The quality it's not swift. It's not like Justin Lin. Justin Lin had a very swift style, and it went really well, but his scenes, the fighting is so close up that you can't even tell what's going on. It's not shaky cam. It's pretty good. It's just so high up and close, and I was really annoyed with it. I was like, stop getting so close. Why are you getting so close? A little bit far up, please. But everything else was really good. I think what they did with Paul Walker was, it was good. It was obvious. It had to happen. But if you're a person like me that's very picky about certain things, you can tell what scenes are really Paul Walker and what are not Paul Walker. You can tell if you're a person like me that can tell, you can tell. It's CGI. There are scenes where you can tell Paul Walker is not Paul Walker. You can tell that it's CGI all over the face. And the reason why is because I can tell there are particular scenes where his face looks realistic, and there are scenes where he looks completely shiny in the face, like too shiny. Completely off-balanced and shiny. It just was too shiny for me to go, oh, that's not Paul Walker. I could tell. And they used Paul Walker's brothers to connect the voice, to connect their voices to make it sound like Paul. Go out.
What?
Get out. I'm doing a review. Sorry. Anyway, what was I saying? About the brother. Okay. I think the brothers did a really good job. I think how they played it out, where you can see there are particular points where they had to get the brothers to come in. I think they did a really good job with that, how they used them to stand in for it. And I think it's pretty unnoticeable, but when you see the face of Paul Walker, that's not Paul Walker, you can tell. But when you see Paul Walker turning and see the back of his head in particular scenes in the movie, that's not Paul Walker, it's pretty unnoticeable. But when you see him turning around, you can see, oh, that was fake. That's what he didn't shoot before he died. Because you can tell there are certain scenes where he gets up. There's a scene in the movie where there's an explosion, and the girlfriend, Jordina, who he has a baby to, runs off to him, and she kind of hugs him, and he turns around, and you can tell that his face is completely CGI. It's not Paul Walker, it's his brother with Paul Walker's face. Anyway, this is a good film. It's a good film. It's fun. It's not as good as Furious 5 and Furious 6, but it is good. It's good. I'd say go see it. It's a good film. Go watch it. You'll enjoy it. Most fans will like it. There'll be some people like me that will probably complain about the CGI of Paul Walker's face. But if I had to give it out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is a decent film. It's good. It knows what it's trying to be. It's not trying to be anything different. It understands what it is. It's a bit jumbled because of just the continuity of what was going on with Paul Walker. It was jumbled. Because we all know how they had to explain it, because there were 2 movies going on, and because of his death, I'm not going to complain about it, but it's how else could they have done it? So I can't really complain about it, because how else could they have completed the film if they didn't put in that other storyline with Paul Walker, if you get what I'm saying. But I highly recommend seeing this movie. Yeah, go see it. You'll like it. Bye.